So I don't know how good this video is gonna be. I don't know how I'm even gonna like title this video, but it's a video that I have been wanting to get out for a very long time. And it's gonna be my testimony, I heard God speak to me. I just don't know how to label it, but I want to talk about the time that I heard God speak to me. And I don't know if this is him speaking to me or him just giving me signs, but I felt it in my soul that this was like a sign from him. And I don't even know where to start. But first off, my pregnancy with Xavier, you guys, that was a pregnancy that was very hard. It was very hard. I'm not sugarcoating it. It was hard mentally, physically, emotionally. It was very stressful. It was very going week by week by week. From, I want to say, 22, 24 weeks, we knew that baby was pretty much growth restricted, and we didn't know why. He was having very high readings on his umbilical cord, and we were just literally taking it week by week. From 27 weeks, I was hospitalized. There was a chance that I was gonna have baby. They put me on steroids, all this stuff, you guys. It was intense. But during this process, when I say my prayer was never stronger, it was not ever this strong. I prayed every day. I prayed every morning, every night, just to make sure everything was okay. Little did I know that God was giving me signs in his own way. And there was one story in particular, you guys, that I kept coming across. And it wasn't until the third time, funny, I'm making this video and it is freaking 11:11, you guys. Oh my God. 3 different stories, and it's 11:11 on 3 of my time. I just got goosebumps. 3 different times, and I had this story given to me 3 different times. Okay. So, like I said, my prayer had never been stronger. My faith was tested. My faith was tested, and I am not going to sugarcoat that at all. But after I was hospitalized, everything was okay. We just knew that we had to take it week by week from here on out. We had to take it. I had to see my OBG, and I had to see a specialist every other week. So during this time, you guys, I want to say the very first time I heard of this story, and it is the story of Sarah and Abraham. And if you are not familiar, I'm going to read what this story says, okay? Sarah was... So first off, if you have heard the story of Abraham and Sarah, you know that it's a twisted story. Like, it is twisted. And I remember the first time I heard this story, I was in shock. I was like, oh man, this is in the Bible? Like, what is this? And it's twisted. So basically, let me kind of read y'all a part. It's in the Genesis chapter. So after Abraham and Sarah were married, God made a covenant or promise with them. He promised they would have children and that he would bless them. They were faithful, but Abraham and Sarah didn't have children for a very long time. Finally, when they were almost 100 years old, they had a son. So that's just to kind of put it into a shorter term. But basically, Sarah never had faith. Sarah didn't have faith that she didn't believe she was going to have a son because she was so old. But God kept repeating, like, you know, have faith, like everything's going to be okay. So the first time I came across the story was actually at a church service. And I remember this story so well because the story leading up to her having her son is twisted. Like, it's like having an affair, and Sarah having like resentment towards this other woman, and it's twisted. Like, yeah, that's how I remembered it because it was so crazy. And I came across it with a church service I had gone to. And I remember coming back and telling Mario, my husband, like, wow, this was like a weird story. But at the end of the day, Sarah had her son. And they had to have faith. They had to believe. And God kept telling them, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to give you your son. Everything's going to be okay. So the second time comes around, and keep in mind that this is all within the 20s, from me being 27 weeks all the way to I gave birth at 37 weeks. I was hearing the story back and forth, but 3 in particular times were what stuck with me. So the second time I heard this story, it was at, I actually didn't hear the story, I read it. I went to, I was about, I think this was in like a week time span. I was 6 months pregnant. This was like 2 weeks after me going to the hospital, and almost 7 months. And I went to my sister-in-law's house, and I gravitated towards this shelf she had of books, and they were like devotional books, faith books, just an assortment of books, okay? And I gravitated towards this one, 9 months with God and Your Baby. And I was 6 months at the time, you guys, going on 7 months. When I opened the book, guess what story I came across? Abraham and Sarah. When I tell you, I had goosebumps. I was like, how ironic is it that I'm coming across this story yet again? And again, it was Sarah not having faith, Sarah not believing that she would get pregnant and she would have a son. But all along, God was telling them, it's gonna happen, believe me, have faith. That was the second time I came across it. And I remember telling my sister-in-law, like, oh my God, like, I just read about this story, and now I just so happened to open the month that I'm on, and it's the same story. So I was like, okay, that's weird, you know? And the third time, you guys, the third time I came across this story, I was, at this point, this was a couple of weeks later. I want to say I was about 35 weeks pregnant, okay? And I had my son at 37 weeks. But during this time, I was still being tested. My faith was being tested, you guys. I was getting off the wagon. Like, I was not believing. I was not having faith anymore. Third time comes around. I'm in my backyard. In the mornings, I would walk for like a 15 minutes. 15-minute walks in my backyard, you guys. And in the mornings, I would listen to devotions. I would listen to certain speeches from certain preachers that I love. And this one, and if I can find it, I think I saved it. I'm going to find the actual video that I was listening to. The preacher, once again, discussed Abraham and Sarah in his lecture. And it was crazy because I was listening to his lecture, and it wasn't until it was about the middle of it that he brought up this story. And the way he brought it up this time, this is what hit home. This is what made me realize, oh my God, like, he's been talking to me. God has been talking to me through this passage, through this verse, through this story. And you guys, I'm getting goosebumps. It was the way the preacher said it. He was saying, stop denying, your faith will always be tested, but always have faith, and pray, and your prayers will be answered. It was how he said it, you guys. When I tell you, I stopped, and I wish that we had footage, because I know it was on footage. I know we had it recorded. I stopped in the middle of our yard, and I was like, wait a minute. Third time I'm listening to this. I got goosebumps this time. And I was like, God has been telling me all along to have faith. Everything's going to be okay. And I had to dig deeper within the passage. And at the end of the day, that's what that story was saying. Have faith. Everything's going to be okay. God will answer your prayer. And he answered Sarah's prayer. Like, she got the son that she was old. It didn't happen right away. But she was blessed with the son. And everything ended up working out for me and my baby. Baby came out early. I had to be induced. But everything was okay. And I'm getting goosebumps, you guys, because I'm not going into detail. Like, I feel like I'm not elaborating the story as much as I should. But the goosebumps that I felt the third time I came across this passage, this story, why did I say passage? This story, it just all made sense. It all made sense. And God was just telling me, don't lose faith. Have faith. Believe. And I did. And he answered my prayer. Baby boy's here. Baby boy's healthy. But yeah, you guys, that's my testimony. I don't know how good this video is going to be. I'm just going to put it out. It's a video that I've been wanting to put out for a very long time, because it's something that I don't want to forget. And I feel like even right now I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. But that's my testimony. That is my story of hearing from God. That is my... And disclaimer, you guys, I am by far not the perfect believer, the perfect Christian, the perfect... I sin every day. So I'm far from that. But I do believe. I do have faith. And yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to share, you guys. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, until the next video.